He was starving, he couldn't wait any longer. He paused in the parking lot to eat his 30-piece chicken nugget meal. But when he wiped his oil-covered fingers, he noticed something at the bottom of his pocket. At first, he didn't know how to feel, but anger soon overcame him. Did it really say that? Daniel and his girlfriend were just getting home from a family in Flagstaff, Arizona, when their stomachs began to growl. They realized that they had nothing to eat. Then Graham noticed a Chick Fil A in front of him. They didn't even have to say anything to each other before Graham pulled into the parking lot. They knew what they were going to order, but they never thought they would get anything extra with their order. Graham's girlfriend waited in the car while the 22-year-old walked through the door and headed to the counter to order what they both wanted, a 30-chicken nugget meal. Daniel's server name was Jordan, and he told Daniel that he would have to wait a while as they were pretty busy. Daniel was a little annoyed when he heard laughter from behind. How could they have time to play around when they were busy? Daniel didn't really mind if they wanted to have some fun at work, but he couldn't help but feel a little uncomfortable when the people preparing his food didn't take it seriously. When Daniel's order was finally ready, he went to the counter, picked up the bag, and went back to his car. At this point, he could really feel his hunger, so he didn't notice all eyes on himself when he left the restaurant. With all the whispers and laughter in the restaurant, Daniel was a little worried that they might have tampered with his food. Did he do something wrong? Did they have reason to give him messed up food? He tried to forget it and didn't even tell his girlfriend about it. He gave her the food and they both chewed. They hadn't noticed anything unusual yet. With their combined hunger, they sipped their food in no time. After the nuggets were ready, the fries followed quickly. Daniel was so full. He was satisfied with his food and went to throw away the bag his food had come in. Then he found that he still needed his receipt, which he needed for his budget. So he took out the crumpled receipt and looked at it a little more closely. Daniel was no stranger to Chick Fil A and always kept his receipts. However, this receipt was different from anyone he had received previously. It looked like something he shouldn't see, like something the workers communicated with. As he read it, he thought it was a mistake that no customer should know about. Daniel saw that something was on a ticket. Fortunately, he didn't throw it in the trash. He asked his girlfriend for a second opinion on what was on the ticket. Jordan, his server, must have entered the ticket by mistake with his order. This was clearly not something he should see, and the ticket was about him. His girlfriend said to give them part of his thoughts. She defended her boyfriend and wanted him to act. How dare you pick Daniel like that and then have the gall to put the note in with his meal? It was embarrassing enough for Daniel. He didn't want to go back there and was thinking of a much sweeter way to get back to them. He took the ticket and placed it on his lap. He cleaned his fingers, took out his cell phone, and went into camera mode. He wasn't going to let the restaurant workers make him worse. He logged into Twitter and was still completely offended. You would pay for it, he would take care of it. Daniel knew exactly what to do to teach the Chick Fil A staff a lesson. It was far from over. In fact, this was just the beginning. It was lucky that Daniel already had a fairly large following on Twitter, and he intended to let each of them know about what was happening. He took a picture of the offending receipt, but he never expected such an answer. Daniel sent the tweet, accompanied by a picture of the receipt and a selfie of himself turning off the camera with a rude gesture and showing off his favorite knit sweater. A few minutes passed in silence. Then the answers rolled in. But what could have been on the receipt that was so outrageous that it sparked such an angry tweet storm? Daniel posted the ticket on Twitter and called the restaurant about his unprofessional behavior. Even though Daniel told the server his name, Jordan decided to identify him by his opinion on his fashion sense and to write ugly sweater as well. Wrote Daniel, referring to the chain's trademark, "My pleasure." But he never expected his Goodwill sweater to become an online sensation. Daniel and his girlfriend could never have expected such a reaction. There were many mixed feelings about the incident, and the Twitterverse was split. While some users complimented the sweater, others agreed with the cashier that it was ugly. Some users even went so far as to criticize the size of Daniel's order, but he was quick to correct it, stating that the 30-piece nugget box was meant for him and his girlfriend. Despite all of the mixed responses and comments, most users felt that Daniel's reaction was fully justified. Many users agreed that the cashier's rude comment was inappropriate and very unprofessional. And then Twitter users began to gather behind Daniel. They wanted to help with his crusade by calling them on a public platform. But would he get justice? The tweet drew 150,000 likes, 17,000 retweets, and 700 comments. "I'm not angry," Daniel insisted, finally starting to see the funny side. But I'm sad and will take reparations and free chicken sandwiches, he added, hoping to get the manager's attention. But many commentators told him he was doing a big deal with nothing, which suggests they have the right to call his clothes that way. Customer service should be about providing good service to the customer. But in this case, the service Daniel provided was offended and saddened. He did not appreciate the prick at all in his choice of clothes. But what could he do about it? Daniel didn't have time to file an official complaint. He was too busy answering questions from users directed at his post. There were many questions from followers and strangers, but most of them were not about what had happened, but rather derogatory remarks about the food Daniel had ordered. But some tried to explain to Daniel, contrary to most of the answers, that the term ugly sweater is not an insult at all. And a woman posted her own photo that made Daniel laugh. As a crazy coincidence, it was a photo of a girl wearing the exact same sweater. But soon after, another notification popped up. And this time it was from Chick Fil A. The store manager apologized extensively for what happened and said it was all a misunderstanding. He explained that the receipt Daniel had in his pocket shouldn't be seen by him. It was used by the cashier to call out an order or a name. This cashier's receipt served as a cheat sheet so the staff could easily remember a customer's name, or, in Daniel's case, a sweater. "You're not wrong though," said one commenter after seeing the sweater in his angry selfie. Others pointed out that ugly isn't even an insult to such a fashionable sweater. "Oh, but ugly sweater are called such cute sweaters, sir." A fan of his loud sense of style. Would you have been offended if a server dropped a note like this at your lunch?